It is late summer, 1776. George Washington's Continental Army has been crushed at the Battle of Long Island, and New York City has fallen to the British. By September, a quarter of Lower Manhattan is reduced to ashes. The British occupation turns the city and the surrounding islands into a fortress, immediate and fatal. Major Robert Rogers, a veteran of the French and Indian War, spots Hale in a tavern. Rogers poses as a Patriot sympathizer, luring Hale into admitting his mission. Hale is apprehended and hanged without a trial the next morning. Hale's execution proved that enthusiasm alone was a recipe for disaster. To survive the occupation, the Continental Army needed a professional, deeply compartmentalized intelligence machine. Major Benjamin Tolmage, the director of military intelligence, realized that military officers were too vulnerable to exposure. To build a sustainable network, he turned to ordinary civilians. Tolmage utilized camouflage by routine. He recruited a farmer named Abraham Woodhull and a merchant named Robert Townsend. Their mundane daily activities, checking crops or selling dry goods, provided the perfect invisible cover for espionage. Gathering the data was only half the battle. The Ring then had to transmit that intelligence across a 110-mile round trip from occupied Manhattan back to Washington's headquarters. The first leg of the journey rested on Austin Rowe, a tavern keeper. Under the pretext of buying supplies, Rowe carried the hidden intelligence through a lawless expanse stocked by cowboys and skinners, violent militias who preyed on anyone moving through the neutral ground. From the coast, whaleboat captain Caleb Brewster smuggled the messages across the Long Island Sound, a heavily patrolled waterway known as the Devil's Belt. Brewster navigated these hidden coves to reach the safety of the Connecticut shoreline. This strict geographical compartmentalization ensured that no single operative held all the pieces of the puzzle, creating the first secure intelligence pipeline for the American cause. Even with a relay in place, the couriers faced a constant threat, being stopped and physically searched by British patrols. To protect the information, Tolmage created the Culper Code Book, replacing simple ciphers with 763 numerical codes for specific names, places, and verbs. However, the coded letters still looked suspicious. Traditional invisible inks were also a risk, as the British knew how to reveal them by simply holding the paper over a candle flame. Washington sought a more advanced solution: sympathetic stain. This was a complex chemical reagent developed by Sir James J. Messages written in the stain were immune to heat and could only be revealed by brushing the paper with a specific chemical reagent. Washington instructed his agents to hide these reports on the blank leaves of common pamphlets or ledgers. This chemistry allowed the data to move through checkpoints in plain sight. If a courier like Austin Rowe was stopped, British guards would find nothing but mundane business correspondence and blank pages, leaving the hidden military data untouched. The intelligence flowing through this pipeline provided Washington with the clarity needed to anticipate and block British operations. In 1780, Robert Townsend discovered a British plot to destroy the American economy by flooding the market with expertly forged continental bills. This was an existential threat. The British had acquired the exact paper stock used by the Continental Congress, making the counterfeits nearly impossible to detect. Townsend's report allowed Congress to void the bills and prevent a total financial collapse. The network's most dramatic success came months later. Their intelligence led to the interception of Major John Andre and the exposure of Benedict Arnold's plot to surrender the fortress at West Point. The Culper Ring functioned as a strategic shield, protecting the American treasury and holding the line at West Point during the war's most vulnerable moments. Maintaining this system required a massive investment. After the war, Washington received a reimbursement of $17,000, roughly 11% of the entire continental military budget. When peace finally arrived, the operatives returned to their civilian lives. They remained bound by a code of silence, and many took their secrets to the grave. Robert Townsend's identity remained a mystery for over a century. It was only in 1929 that a historian noticed a similarity in penmanship between old merchant ledgers and the Culper Jr. letters in Washington's files, finally unmasking the merchant from Oyster Bay. By shifting from amateur bravery to systematic tradecraft, these farmers and merchants proved that a network of ordinary citizens could successfully outmaneuver a global power. They demonstrated that in war, the quietest whispers can often carry more weight than cannon fire.